Welcome back to the IHSN Sports Roundtable. We are at El Rey, and glad to have you along tonight. Still invite you to come out and join us if you would like to. We've still got an hour and a half to go, so that's plenty of time to stop on by. We got a trivia question now. Let me give you the phone number up front. If you know the answer to our trivia question, 539-4616. Okay, so Rick Keaton, it is homecoming week. You don't know the question that I'm about to ask, but I know that you know the answer when you hear the question, but don't answer it.
Okay.
Okay, so Caitlin Butts is defending homecoming queen at Scott High School. There's going to be another homecoming queen crowned this Friday night, which I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, will be the 52nd, maybe, homecoming queen that Scott High is crowned.
Yes.
The question is, who was the very first football homecoming queen at Scott High School? And if you know the answer to that, again, you can text 539-4616. Okay, we're joined by Kamryn Kennedy and Aliyah Douglas, Oneida High School soccer. Guys, thank you for joining us.
I know the answer.
Congratulations on what has been a great start to the season so far. And I say that, I know that your record is probably not where you would like for it to be, but win or lose, and you guys lost a couple of close ones last week, every game that you've been in so far has been close, has gone right down to the wire. So talk about the season so far and where you stand and what you feel like that you still need to improve on going forward.
I mean, I think that we work really, really hard as a team, especially, and I still think that's something that we need to work on is just the cohesiveness of the team. But we work hard every week. We try our best, but I know the results aren't great, but we're working hard.
But again, every game has been so close, and Kamryn, that includes the game against Cumberland Gap on Thursday. You guys had already come back from a 4-0 deficit against Corbin on Monday, and then on Thursday you find yourselves in a hole again, came all the way back to tie that game. Then there was a call late in the game, and Cumberland Gap gets a penalty kick. Now, I'll just ask you, because you were fairly close to that play as it unfolded. Was it a penalty?
I personally don't think it was.
I don't think anybody thinks it was. You're going to see Cumberland Gap again, though, and probably a few more times as you go through this season. So talk about, well, twice at least. So talk about what you've got to do to get over the hump against Cumberland Gap the next time you face them.
I think it'll look a lot like it did last year. You know, we see them 3 times, and I think last year we did lose them the first time, but the other 2 games is when it really counts. So I think we can, just knowing that they're a big rival, we kind of got that first game out of the way, so it'll be a lot better the next 2 times.
And to be clear, and just like last year, you lost to Cumberland Gap, and last year's regular season game was not really that competitive. This year, it was anybody's game. That doesn't really make a difference. This game didn't really count. The only thing this game decided is where you play that postseason game at. So now you know you've got to go to Cumberland Gap in the district tournament, assuming you make it that far. I think you guys will. You know you've got to go over there and play. But as you said, last year you were faced with that same obstacle, and you went over there and you beat them in the district championship game, then got to play the region championship game at home. And so it's kind of the same trajectory is playing itself out once again.
Yeah.
All right. Aliyah, you had a big personal milestone that you were closing in on, so we've got to talk about that. You have now accomplished that goal, and you're Oneida's all-time leading goal scorer. You set the record against Harriman, had 4 goals in that game. You went into that game with 60. You came out with 64. We were just talking during the break. I meant to look and see how many you're up to now. Neither one of us know, but you're closing in on 70 goals with a lot of soccer left to be played. It was just 3 years ago that the record was set by Macy Dunlap, and you played with Macy Dunlap when you guys were freshmen and she was a senior. Talk about that goal coming into this season. I know that was something that you were looking at as you came into this season and then finally accomplishing it.
I mean, I wasn't even expecting to get that close. I mean, everybody was telling me that I was going to beat it, and I was like, I don't think so. Macy said it pretty high. But I'm so thankful for her, especially because, I mean, she pushed me to be the best that I could be, and I would not be here without her, that's for sure.
And I remember when, as a freshman, when you were a freshman, and Macy set that goal, and I remember having a talk with Phil Newport at the time, and I think we both said at the time there is a chance that Aliyah Douglas may one day break that, and so here we are. And let's be clear, Macy Dunlap has been very supportive of you and your pursuit of that record, and she was probably the first person that complimented you after you said it that night.
Yeah.
Okay, so on that play, it was early in the second half against Harriman, and you got the goal. Talk about that moment.
I was just beyond relieved. I was like, man, it's over. I can chill, but, I mean, I'm going to try to push it as hard as I can, get it as high as I can to maybe encourage a few other girls to try to get ahead.
So did you feel like that sometimes sometimes players get bogged down by the pursuit of goals and that sort of thing. Did you feel like that was a little bit of a distraction from you, or did it just push you to do better?
It really fueled my fire. I mean, I really wanted to get up there. Yeah.
And so now, as we said, you're pushing 70. Macy had 63, and before her, I think the record was 56. And so now you're closing in on 70, and still a lot of soccer to be played. Do you think you're going to set it to where it's going to be hard for anybody to ever break it, or do you think that it's just going to be another 3 or 4 years and someone's going to come along and be where you're at right now?
I don't know. I really hope that some of the girls that I played with will beat me. I really, really want them to beat me. I want it to like push them to work super hard and just blow me out of the water. That's what I want to happen.
And of course, you could not have done that without and Coach Newport talks all the time about Alexia Jones assisting so many of those goals that you scored, and Kamryn has assisted some of those goals, but your entire team around you. And so there are 5 of you seniors, 6 of you seniors, 5 of you guys that are on the field at all times, no matter what. And you guys have played soccer together your whole lives. So talk about, you're at this point in your career, you're seniors, you're chasing some pretty lofty team goals. We talked about the personal goals, but you guys are chasing some big team goals, the opportunity to be the first team from Oneida to ever get to a state tournament. Let's talk about playing together and how you need to rely on each other to accomplish those goals.
We're really starting to play good together now that we're kind of getting the flow of things, and even in the Cumberland Gap game, all 5 of us that was on the field, all of us scored against Gap, which is really good for us. But I think just us learning each game how to play with each other and having Claire back it's really starting to flow for us real good. And
offensively, we talked about Aliyah's goals. You've had a big year offensively so far as well. A lot of goals, a lot of assists, and you're in that midfield position, so it can kind of go either way for you. So what's your preference? Do you like the opportunity to score, or do you like the opportunity to take the ball off the foot of the other team and play defense? What's your favorite?
I don't really have a preference, honestly. I prefer to – obviously I like to score. Everybody does. But I really like creating more opportunities for assists and things like that.
So as we get into the latter part of this season, it feels strange to say because it feels like the season just started, but we are getting into the latter part of the season. And I asked Phil Newport this before the season, and Alexia was on a couple of weeks ago, and I asked her the same question. Now I'm going to ask both of you. In a few more weeks, because in another month, this thing is either going to be over or very close to being over. When this season is done, whenever that might be, and you step away from it, and you can look back and you can say, I'm totally satisfied with the way it turned out. I have no regrets. What does that look? What have you accomplished in order to be able to say that? And I'll ask both of you guys that. What's the ultimate goal?
I would love to go to state. Absolutely love to go to state. I know that we're definitely going to work hard enough to get there, but that would be beyond amazing for me.
Kamryn?
I agree with Aliyah. I think this team can do big things, and we're so close to being able to get that far.
And I asked Phil Newport jokingly before the season started, I said, I'm going to ask you when I've got you on the record next week, because we were coming up on an interview we were going to do. I'm going to ask you on the record, is it now or never for a state tournament? What he tells me is that this is just the start, and that next year's team and the year after that and the year after that, there's going to be more opportunities to get to the state tournament. So as trendsetters, whether you guys get to the state tournament or not, and obviously I think you've got a very good shot at getting there, whether you do or not, there's some young talent on this team, some sophomores like Jillian Cross and Presley Queener and some of these sophomores that are playing a lot of minutes. There are freshmen that are playing a lot of minutes. That's the team of the future. So what do you guys have to do as seniors to mentor them and get them in a position to where they can take those next steps forward in the years ahead?
I just think the best thing that we can do is cheer them on, lift them up, encourage them to try their hardest and be their best.
Anything to add to that?
Not much. That's pretty good.
All right, so as we get into the home stretch of this season, you guys have got a trip to Sevier County tomorrow. And what do you know about Sevier County? How does that – they're a big school. I know that, but I don't know anything about them from a soccer standpoint. I'm sure you guys maybe even have watched some film on Sevier County. What do you know about them?
We don't know a thing.
Okay.
We haven't heard a thing.
Right before this interview, we was looking them up on Max Preps.
So what do they look like on Max Preps?
The only thing we could really find is that they're a AAA team, and it's probably going to be. I think we can beat them, but they're a bigger school, so they're going to have a lot of talent. So we'll just have to keep trying through the game.
Okay, so tomorrow is a good warm-up game because Thursday is the one that is important. That's another region game, another district game against Rockwood. You got to go on the road again for that one. So you're going to be at Rockwood on Thursday night. Rockwood is a team that is good enough to give you guys some problems. As a matter of fact, was it last year or the year before they actually won that regular season game? What do you got to do on Thursday night to be ready for that one?
We've got to be aggressive and just attack them from the get-go, because they know us really well and they watch us really close. So we're going to have to be aggressive.
And they would love to win that game.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so you guys getting close to the end of this thing as seniors, and I got to ask you this. Coach Newport a couple of weeks ago, he said that he's got several players on his team that are eyeing that next level and would like to take that next step. And I know you would like to play at the next level, and so I'm going to give you both an opportunity because I have no idea, Kamryn, what your plans are beyond high school. But both of you guys talk about whether you want to continue to play after this is all said and done and what you're looking at in that regard.
I'm really looking into college right now. I'm really looking at ETSU, UTC, and then maybe a couple smaller schools to play at, but I'm not sure yet.
And so do you have offers from I don't know how college recruiting works as compared to basketball or football. Do you have offers, or is that something that's still open?
It's still open. We've called them. We've talked to them a few times. I've been up there a lot to play with their girls, and it's been a process so far, that's for sure.
Kamryn, how about it? Is high school the end of it, or do you look at taking that next step and continuing to play after this year?
I'd say after high school, this will be it for me.
Okay.
But that's kind of how I want it. I don't like a lot of pressure, like as far as playing for a college and stuff. I'm just looking to do high school, and that's it.
College sports is a lot of work. No matter which sport you play, it is a ton of work, and so many times kids want to play at that next level, and then they get there and they think, gosh, I don't know, I wasn't expecting this. So sometimes it's good just to enjoy the experience.
I've heard them talking about the camps that they go to, and it just seems so overwhelming. So I'm kind of staying away from it.
All right, Aliyah Douglas and Kamryn Kennedy. Aliyah, congratulations on the record.
Thanks.
And good luck to you guys and to your team as you go forward. Tomorrow night at Sevier County, Thursday night at Rockwood. And real quickly, before we go to break, tell us when your next home game is going to be.
29th.
The 29th against Scott High.
Yes.
Okay, that's your next home game. All right, September the 29th, Oneida Scott High. That'll be a 6:30 start at Jane Terry Hoffman Field, and so a great opportunity to get out and see both of those teams play. Guys, thank you for joining us. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to talk middle school football as the IHSN Roundtable continues.